Okay, today we're going to talk about moon phases, and specifically we're going to talk about how to answer what moon phase would look like when you're standing on Earth. So we came up with kind of a crazy way to figure this out. We call it the Blue's Clues method of moon phases. So if we were to ask you this question, what would the moon look like to someone standing on Earth? So if you're standing here on Earth and you're looking up at the moon, what would it look like? What phase would the moon be in if you were standing on Earth looking at it? Now, first thing I want you to notice when we look at this diagram is there's something wrong with it. Okay, we talked about it in the first video. The Earth and the Sun are about the same size on this diagram, but we know that that's not really the case. But if we tried to make this to scale, make it accurate, it wouldn't fit on the screen, and we'd have a very tiny dot. So we changed that just so we can see it. But understand that we're talking about these don't really fit. Okay, the first step in solving this question, what would the moon look like to someone standing on the Earth? If you were standing here on Earth and you were looking up at the moon, what would it look like? What moon phase would it be? Which parts would be lit? Which parts would be dark? The first step in solving this problem is to see where is the sun lighting up. So we know that the sun is shining down on the Earth, and so it's sending its rays like this, and they're coming in pretty much straight and parallel because the sun is so far away. So the sun's rays are coming and shining at us. Remember, this sun is so far to the left and it's so much bigger. So as the sun's rays are coming, it's lighting up the Earth. Half the Earth is lit, half the Earth is dark. Half the moon is lit, half the moon is dark. So we're going to darken in or shade in the half of the moon. So cut the moon in half facing the sun, half not facing the sun, and we're going to color in the half not facing the sun. Okay, so if we were to clean that up, it would look like this. Okay, so the next step is we're going to actually physically turn our paper. We're going to turn our paper so that there's a straight line from your belly button through the Earth to the moon. A lot of students try to skip this step and say they can do it in their head, and they get it wrong. So please, believe me on this one. You're going to rotate the paper so that there's a line from your belly button through the Earth to the moon. Okay? Now I'm going to zoom in here so that we can get a little better view on the Earth and the moon. Okay, so we've zoomed in on the Earth. And what I want you to do next is, if you've watched Blue's Clues and you were a little kid, all those hours spent in front of the TV, they weren't wasted. They're going to help you in science now. So what I want you to do is imagine Blue skidooing in just like this. Blue's gonna do, we can't do. So imagine yourself shrinking and jumping in. So we take this archer and we're going to Blue skidoo him in. Bow, 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 bow. And he shrinks. Imagine shrinking yourself and jumping down here into Earth. So now you're looking up at the moon from here. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to draw 3 different lines from you to the moon. So I want you to draw a line from you to the very left-hand side of the moon. You draw a line from you straight up to the middle of the moon. Draw a line from you to the right-hand side of the moon. Now remember the question that we're trying to answer. What would the moon look like to you if you're standing on the Earth looking up at it? Okay, so when we follow this left-hand line all the way over, is the moon lit or dark on the part that it's touching? So what I want you to do is, we've put a little moon here. This is what it would look like to him. On the very left-hand side, it's dark. It's touching the dark part of the moon. So we're going to put a D there. Right. When you look up at the middle, the line that goes to the middle is touching a lighted part of the moon. So I'm going to put an L. And the right hand is touching a lit part of the moon. So now, if we put a dot at the top and a dot at the bottom of this moon, we're going to draw what I call pumpkin lines. Because if you look at how you draw pumpkins when you're a little kid, we all know a pumpkin looks like this at Halloween. We always curved our lines coming from the middle. All right, so that makes a good pumpkin. If you've never learned how to draw a pumpkin before, there you go. You just got a lesson. So we're going to draw a pumpkin line. It curves along with the pumpkin. So in between dark and light, we draw a pumpkin line. Now this is just like a coloring book. We're going to shade in the part that's dark. And voila, we get to see this is what the moon would look like if you were standing here looking up at it in this position. So what is the name of this phase of the moon? Well, is it waxing or waning first? So we have to know, is the right side being lit or is the right side dark? The right side is lit. Remember, the right side is the light side, so that's what's happening first. So what happens first? It's waxing. You wax the car before it wanes on it. So this is a waxing moon. It's getting more and more lit. It's not a new moon because it's not all dark. It's not a crescent. It doesn't look like a little sliver. It's not a first quarter. It's not half lit. It is a little bit more than half lit, but not all the way to a full moon. So we call this a gibbous. This is a waxing gibbous. Now you try this one on your own. What would the moon look like if you were standing on Earth and you looked up at the moon? What phase would it be in? Notice that I changed which side the sun is on. Doesn't really matter. In space there is no correct way. There's no top or bottom, left or right. So just follow the steps as we did them before. If it helps to rewind the video, go back and move through the process. Do that. I want to know what phase would the moon look like if you were standing on Earth.